Okay, so my presentation's a little bit different. I want to show you the background that we went through to try and develop a unit for a particular cohort. And I'll start you off to how we went on our journey.
Some businesses have no business making your milk. New Devondale chilled milk, proudly owned by Aussie farmers.
A little bit of liberty there, I'm afraid, but it'll give you an insight into our area. My name is Jillian Goudie from the National Centre of Dairy Education, and I'm here to explain to you how we went about building our unit for a particular cohort. In this case, it was the dairy industry. So I'd like to introduce you to the role of a dairy farmer. It's 6:30, and as you reach to switch off your alarm, they're already bringing in the cows and are starting the day's work. By the time you've finished your morning coffee, they've cleaned the system, fed the calves, and are about to lock the animals up for the day in their paddocks. As you walk to the office, they've already completed 4 hours of work. They're about to have their breakfast and plan their day's activities. This is where they start to review their daily data collection. Whilst they munch on their toast, they check the data associated with the electronic ID in each cow. For each animal, the morning's milk volume, her stage in lactation, her production history are compared to and measured against the daily feed intake. Any discrepancies or deficiencies, outside metrics are highlighted. Using these metrics, the daily ration can be modified for each animal or the herd as a whole. With a few taps of the keyboard, changes are made. In a few clicks, the feed's adjusted and the report is sent to the farmer. To further improve efficiency, the trend is now towards more robotic dairies. These units eliminate the expensive and unreliable need of labour and the evening and morning milking routines. In fact, the cow selects when she wants to be milked, when it suits her and not when it's convenient for the farmer. At the robot, she's fed her individual ration and the data analysis and collection continues. Each quarter is checked, and if there's a health issue or ovulation is detected through hormones, then she's drafted out to a paddock and the farmer is notified by SMS. Otherwise, the cow is milked and automatically cleaned and dried and directed to the next paddock. Today's farmers also use a variety of apps to do their work. They help in decision making on health treatments, pasture, fertiliser, chemical use, and pest and weed management. Information for them is supplied by a range of government bodies, and that way that adheres to that they're getting the best practice always and the freshest product for the consumer. They utilise the power of the web to keep abreast of changes and to communicate with peers and discuss problems. Their industry has chosen social media as the most efficient form of information and updates. So they subscribe to a number of Twitter feeds, number of Facebooks, number of web pages to keep their information current. The old quarterly Dairy Farmer magazine is now starting to build up dust in the corner. The world of social media and online presence also provides them with a means to communicate directly with consumers. Whilst this has enormous benefits, it actually highlights the divide between rural and urban communities in understanding the paddock to plate environment. Added to this is a new challenge of the Animal Liberation Group. They seek to find a flaw in the farming system and negate the passion that the farmers have. Dairy farmers therefore need to have the confidence to portray the real picture. I'll give you a very brief program. The industry's legendary communication platform was launched in 2013 by Dairy Australia to put the spotlight on the Australian dairy industry and to highlight the professional people behind the products. The plan was to showcase the 170 odd skills a dairy farmer uses, plus develop a communication site for consumers and farmers to be proud of the dairy industry. The Legend Dairy platform started to inform consumers of the background of their product and the link to the producer. But as I said, farmers need to be empowered to be their own advocates. They needed to have new presentation skills, new media skills to clearly articulate their message, both online, in local community, and in media at large. Dairy Australia approached NCDA to collaborate on an online media training program, developing Legend Dairy Champions. This was to empower dairy farmers to enhance their communication skills and become confident spokespersons for the dairy industry. In essence, to champion the dairy industry. So who is NCDA? National Centre for Dairy Education is developed as a training arm of Dairy Australia. It's a venture between GOTAFE and DA, and so far we have created over 60 units for the industry. These units support a career path training program and recognises the various skills required to be a dairy farmer. We have practical and theory skills which are taught mainly at Cert 2 and Cert 3, and these are done in the traditional blended environment. But as students soon learn the business of farming, the theoretical and expert knowledge from industry tends to lend itself more to an online delivery model. And for the past 4 years, we've delivered the diploma and advanced diploma in agriculture fully online in a virtual classroom. Our student cohort has been local, national, and international. The Developing Legend Dairy Champions was the next evolution of this delivery. We launched it through social media, industry partners, and media releases in industry magazines. It's a free online course directed at dairy farmers and the industry associated with farming. It's designed to be completed over 4 sessions, and it's supported by a virtual classroom on a weekly basis. Students learn the skills of dealing with all forms of media, from internet postings to journalistic interviews. The final product was a combination of experts in the media industry, instructional design, IT specialists, and industry trainers. Developed on Moodle in line with GOTAFE's compliant LMS environment, each session addresses a topic and is supported by a range of videos, activities, and posts. Completion entitles the student to 3 units of Cert 4. From the onset, the objective was to provide a fully engaging structure that was truly supported by our team of skilled trainers and facilitators. We assumed that our potential student cohort would need IT and educational support, so we developed a range of tools to help that. From my experience, I have to say that if you're going to be developing this sort of product, You need to be able to start from the first session without any hiccups. So test, test and test. Our first target was a cohort from outback Queensland and northern Queensland. These dairy farmers were just coming through a horrid drought. They needed to know that their levies that they paid were coming back to them in some form of training skills, and they were both sceptical and nervous. The virtual classroom software we used was Adobe Connect. Later we used the meeting tool, Microsoft Link. This meant that farm duties were no longer a hindrance to our classroom style study. At times, students would click a link on the device of their choice, and they would then be able to participate in the classroom discussion. The program ran on Monday nights at 8 p.m, and the classroom enabled each of the students to see each other, the virtual classroom. The 1.5 hour session would answer the current topic, provide examples, and help with questions. We kept the class size modest, about 15, so that we could have a meaningful interaction. A lot of pre-planning was devoted to training our trainer in online presentation skills, and these skills are constantly evolving. We had to recognise our target audience, and understanding the isolated nature of farming, we sought to use posts and forums to get them to engage and share their lives. The response was overwhelming. The passion for their business and their lifestyle was definitely there. They readily shared their goals and aspirations. These early sessions formed a fantastic collegiality bond that continued throughout each course and each delivery. It became quite a supportive environment. From a design perspective, we had to best consider how to engage these folk. And understanding their background and understanding their passion and pride, we elected to start off with some forums. Tapping into the fact that the students came from originally Queensland and then later on down to Tasmania, we were keen, each farmer was keen to peek over the fence and see what the others are doing. And this provided the stimulus for us to get the engagement. The course itself takes the students on a journey from self-discovery to application of knowledge and passion for their topic. Students were encouraged to identify who they were, identify what it was they wanted to represent, and then how to develop their own positive statement. Here's an example. And what they went on to help, it then went on to help them identify their goal, identify their audience, and tailor their message to best reach their target. They were encouraged to identify a project dear to their heart, and throughout the rest of the course, develop media releases, devise delivery strategy, and identify monitoring methodology for the results. They learnt the power of a snappy title and to keep the audience message succinct and identify with them. To practice for the final assessment, an interview, which is an interview with a journalist on the topic of their choice, students were asked to prepare an interview at home. Leading up to this, the topics were done on managing nerves, breathing techniques and vocal control. For many, this was the first time that they had been in front of a camera and they were quite scared. The skill base was varied from frequent use Facebookers to those that still use very old cell phones. However, despite nerves and fears, they all managed to complete their video and successfully upload it to Moodle. It's a shame I wasn't able to demonstrate that. The final journalistic interview assessment was done in front of their trainers and peers using the virtual classroom software. The students presented their topic and the journalist utilised a variety of techniques to fluster them. The whole interview was recorded for the students to review later. I'm pleased to report all interviewees survived unscathed and remained composed and in control. The bolder students went first, and I suspect the latter learnt from the trainer's comments. Nevertheless, the exercise was a great simulation of a real-life experience, and many have gone on to utilise it further. Feedback from our students. They found that the Moodle structure was engaging, intuitive and uncluttered. Activities and assessments were designed to have a natural flow, making each achievable and, importantly, comprehensible. The logs provided with the facilitator with the tools to monitor the students and the completion rate. Thus far, we've had a 93% completion rate. The menu structure is important. It needs to be clear and easy to understand. Similarly, activities and assessments need to be well identified. We explored a number of existing and new templates and found that the flashy icons and linear formats, whilst possibly engaging for school students, didn't work so well in an adult environment. So we kept with the KISS philosophy. The facilitator role. I think it's important here that we stress that a successful online delivery needs a good facilitator. In these deliveries, we have separated the facilitator and the trainer, as each role has a huge workload. The facilitator is the first point of contact for the student. They communicate how the course will run, they introduce the technology, they keep the forum conversations active, they monitor student success, and they work with them to maintain momentum. They also become the agony aunt when the students are feeling a bit overwhelmed. They need to be readily contactable, even if it's simply email, and they need to ensure that they're timely in their response to the students. This brings out a whole new exercise on work hours, regular work hours, which I'm having discussions at the moment. Very quickly we integrate Office 365 with our Moodle, and we've been able to use the Outlook Mail feature of Office 365 and redirect that back to the student's personal email account. The reason we do that is that way the students were able to be notified very promptly and on their own platforms, their own email choices, when forum posts are done. And we found that quite significant in keeping the conversation travelling. The Developing Legendary Champions future has now been, the program has been now been delivered successfully several times. And we even have a waiting list for the next delivery. We're using a very similar system. We're going to roll out a Cert 2 NAG program to our VETA students. The Get Ag Skilled program will use a similar format that is being student-centric approach. We're going to use some new technology in telecommunication tablets on the 4G and 3G network, and we're going to be able to have the students in the class stream directly to farmers in the field to have real-time experience, answer questions, and demonstrate competencies. This new weekly format will be in 4 phases. It'll have a specialty insight model, where the students will be in the classroom or workplace, and they'll attend an online virtual classroom for the introduction on the topic. They'll have a range of sound activities embedded in their learning, and we apply some high order thinking for measuring their comprehension. They then have an industry connection model. Using these tablets and the 4G and 3G streaming, an industry member or business owner then joins the classroom from that workplace and engages with the students, demonstrating the application of the topic in their environment. Students, as I said, can interact directly with the presenter and seek further either visual or audio demonstration or clarification. This is where they make the link between the theory and the application. The workplace section is where we engage the students in a broader application. They come to a particular dairy farm, one that we've already identified local to their region, and in these facilitated interactive sessions, they learn all about applying the task at hand by demonstration and practice on that farm. Finally, to demonstrate competency, each student will then go back to their own workplace, reproduce the task on their own farm, and upload it in a video or other photographic evidence in Moodle. This helps us with competency, and later on will help them with their own portfolio. This is basically a little bit of our legendary program that was going to be played beforehand. So the future of online learning is going to rely on our ability to embed greater learning content, technology and strategies into a fully auditable platform that will ensure compliance is met and that student qualifications are recognised nationally. We've got great plans for future Moodle development, and interaction with e-portfolios of various sorts to further develop our students in tomorrow's agricultural leaders. Thank you.